example, you see, at the time of COVID pandemic, right? So we are all suffered. We don't have any drug to cure the COVID symptoms. So the scientists developed some drugs, vaccine, Covishield, like so many, but directly applied to the human beings. Actually, we have some process, the research process. First, descriptive test, then laboratory test, then animal test, then go for human tests. So it is the case of clinical trials and drug design, right? We are applying. Okay. So my drug, it won't give side effects. So this is one objective. My drug is used within 15 days. So you can formulate these type of statements. But that statements just formulated only. Okay. So to test this hypothesis or to test these statements or to test these objectives. Okay. So the second process is testing of hypothesis. After testing of hypothesis means formulation of objectives. So based on these objectives, you are developing framing to the your research topic, your problem. After formulating the hypothesis, the next step is sampling. Okay. So you are gathering the data. Either you are applying census or sample surveys. So in your investigation, right? Everyone doing an investigation. Chemistry people also. Okay. Then bioinformatics people. Okay. Suppose sequence gene algorithms. How can we formulate? How can we analyze? So we require what? Any problem, we require the data. Okay. So that data you are going to collect census or sample. So here survey in the sense based on your problem you are investigating. Your investigation, right? So in our country, census service is conducted. I am giving a general example. Census service is conducting in our country in every 10 years once. So why we conduct? To assess the population conditions of Indian population, either economic, culture, social. Okay, so always we are saying that since my childhood, India is a developing country. Developing in the sense we are comparing our conditions to the developed countries. How we compare? So it requires a lot of variables and factors. And the total number of respondents. So in census surveys, each and every individual observation is collected. So that's why it takes a large to gather the data. So in the research process, the sampling is and census is enters after formulation of hypothesis. Okay. So in detail later we can discuss what is the census and what is a sample. So after census and sample, next we go for data collection. After fixing a sample, right? So why it plays a sample and important role in the surveys? Sometimes it is not possible to study each and every individual's information and each and every unit information. So at the time of COVID, you see, it is not possible to test each and every uh, COVID patient information. Not possible. So we take sample of observations. That means what? A part of a population information just to observe, then we can decide the part of a population characteristic is equal to the whole population. So we are observing a part. Okay. So that part need not to study each and every individual in the population, just to observe a part or a portion or a subset of a population. This is this is an important of why we apply sample. So in the data collection, the next speakers speaking, whether it is a primary data or secondary data in your research investigation, which one is better? After collecting the data, the next is analyze the data. So the analysis is very important. So we have to apply some tools and techniques of data. That is the data analysis, right? So daily we are generating a lots of data. For example, you see railway system, banking system, insurance systems, transport system, telecommunication system. See, lots of data is generating. Okay, but this lots of data, how can we analyze? How can we survey? For example, what are the total number of credit card defaulters? Okay, so what is the at present? Suppose you see in the health issue, right? At present, the people are suffering, or the people are dying due to, right, heart attacks, isn't it? So some articles in the newspapers or TV channels publishing is due to COVID vaccination, right? People are dying based on the heart attacks. Even below 30 years age, people is also dying all of a sudden. Suppose I want to inquire, so each and every person for sample surveys. But how can we analyze this type of data? What are the statistical tools and techniques to analyze the data? So after analyzing, the next is interpret the report. This is very important. Okay, so that's why in your research process, first to formulate the problem. Based on the problem, you have to study the review the literature. Based on the review literature, you are formulating your objectives, own objectives. Right? After formulating the objectives, you are gathering or you are fixing either census survey or sample survey. Your investigation is applying census or sample. After fixing the census or sample, next the data collection. You are collecting the data is primary or after data collection, next you go for analyze the data. After analyzing the data, next results and discussion. After results and discussion, next report write. So here the census and sampling enters in the research process after formulating the objectives or hypothesis. Right? So now first and foremost, what is a census? Census means we have to study. First and foremost, what is the population? Right? So in the dictionary meaning and the statistical meaning is different. So in the dictionary meaning, right, population is the human beings. But in statistical sense, population is a set of identical units, whether the identical units are living or non-living. For example, okay, number of students, the campus is a population, total number of students. The campus is a population. So in our campus, including all the colleges, nearly 10,386 students are there. 10,000 students. This entire 10,000 students is a census. Now I want to investigate the behavior of students, the behavior of arts, the behavior of science, the behavior of engineering. Students' behavior I want to inquire. Right? So I have no much more time and no much more budget. It is not possible to inquire each and every student's information. Just to go for sample surveys. In each department, 10 students will gather it. That in each department 10, it's called it as a sample surveys. Right? So I will show in a census survey how Indian census survey is conducted. Right? This is only just I am explaining. It is common to everyone, not only science students, not only engineering, not only arts, commerce, management. Just a common platform is why we conduct a census surveys. What is its importance? Right? So the census surveys is conducting to know the status of our country. At present, you see, the India is second largest population country, and also in India we have demographic dividend is very high. That means youth population is very high. So we say that at present youth population is high in the sense, right? So we have to provide employment according to the youth also, right? So after 30-40 years, this youth population become older age group. That means dependence group. Okay. But how can we estimate dependence in the sense there is no reproductive group. Okay. But how can we provide the facilities to the senior citizens? Okay. These problems are there, right? You see, that's why we have to gather each and every unit. That means individuals. That means households. Information we are gathering, right? So first and foremost, see, right? Now I am discussing census in India. Just I am giving only the brief, the introduction of census. But survey is different, right? So why the service is important? Now I am going to explain, right? So suppose it's a chemistry people, right? They are surveying, for example, concentration of ethanol and optical density. Right? What is the relationship between these two groups? For example, in the case of economic people, demand and price. Okay? So in the case of bioinformatics, genetics, sequence, how it is. So different kinds we are studying, right? But in that part, I am giving a general platform right? A population census is, okay, the process of any census. What is the process? First, the collecting. So collecting the data. How we gather the data is very, very, very important. What are the data methods? Okay, so data are of, we want to apply statistical tools and techniques. Compulsory, we require data. The backbone of statistics is a data. Without data, not possible to apply statistical tools and techniques. But that data are of a form of qualitative and quantitative. Qualitative in the sense there is no measurement. For example, I want to measure the honesty, beauty, intelligent quotient. IQ I want to test. Okay. So these are all not measurable. It is a qualitative data. But this qualitative data, we can convert it into a quantitative data by assigning ranks. Okay. For example, you see, okay, children's growth rate. The growth rate is increasing or decreasing, while days is increasing. How it is. So this type of data is collected. So the collecting is very, very important. The ways how you collect. Okay. Generally, the census data, primary data is collected. Right? The investigator directly goes to the field and gather the data just to see the image. These are all the two investigators gathering the data from the respondents. That is a collecting. So, collection of data is very, very, very important. Applying statistical tools, mathematical tools, and any other tools, your well knowledge or sound in your own discipline, right? But you fail in collecting the data, no use. Right? In computer language, we call it as GICO. So garbage input, garbage output. So input the garbage data, the output is also garbage. That's why while you gathering the data, collecting the data, you take care of whether it is sociological or scientific data. The next is compiling the data. So in your investigation, right, you can compile your data. After compiling, analyze the data. So analysis in the sense, you are testing your objectives. Formulated your objectives based on your investigation means your problem, your project problem. Okay, you have to analyze. After analyzing the data, next disseminating the demographic or disseminating the data. Right? Next, whether it is social, cultural, economic data. So relating to all persons in the country, particular time in 10 years. In our country, I am giving one example of census, but in our country, the census report is conducting, census survey is conducting every 10 years once. Why not, or why we are not conducting every 5 years once, every 2 years once? Every year, why we are not conducting? The size is very large. See, more than 140 crore population is there in our country. To gather each and every individuals is not so easy. So it takes a lot of time and budget. Is also we have to appoint lakhs of investigators to gather the data. in the survey. That is a census. So, in our country, every 10 years once we are conducting. But conducting population census in a country like India with a great diversity of physical features, undoubtedly the biggest administrative exercise of SCAT. So the government should function fully. Okay. So we require the entire country data. Country data in the sense the education, scientific, social, religion, culture, economic, okay, health, then all the respect we require a data we have analyze. That's why we have so many ministries: Ministry of Education, Ministry of Health, Ministry of Defense, right? Ministry of now you see Science and Department of Science and Technology, Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation, ICSSR, right? So ICMR, ISS. So many institutions are working and they are giving some inputs to the government to smooth functioning of administrative. So in this administrative includes all the streams, science, arts, engineering, okay, technology, everything is included. So now, see, in the census surveys, the planning and execution of Indian census is challenging and facing is, just I'm giving one example of Indian census, what we are facing the problems, challenges is administrative units. We have so many administrative units like defense, home, science and technology, social justice, right? So many categories are there. Then area and the population. What is the population of South India, East, West, North? What are its challenges? Gender comparison. At present we are facing gender. The gender problem, what is the ratio of males to females? Then literacy and the level of education. This is also a challenge, very big challenge in our country, right? So literacy rate, what it is. At present, in higher education only, right? Nearly 4 crore students are studying. So, what is the challenges of religion? What is the challenge of economic activity? What is the challenge of science and technology? Right? At present, technology is dominating. Right? It facilitates number of those. So, and also the wealth of information collected through census on houses, amenities available the households, socio-economic and the cultural characteristics of the population makes Indian census the richest and the only source for planners, right? So this is the source. The census surveys is important to the planners. Okay? So how to make India? Now you see, make in India. Right? Our own products we are making. Right? That is a plan. Which products we have to import and export? Whether we take a decision, make or buy, to make a product or to buy a product. Right? So previously we are importing a lot of products. We are importing in the sense we are paying more money. So if you want to make it some plans, a country, whether it is scientific or social or whatever it is. So first you collect the census surveys. And also it is useful to the researchers. Whatever you collect the data is useful to the. So at present, so many people are applying projects or whatever it is based on the right science, what is the Department of Science and Technology, AST projects are applying some current issues. So, but that current issues want to apply, you should know the total survey report, right? But these survey reports are collecting the government as well as the private. So, the surveys plays a very important role for the researchers. Without data, there is no. Then after that, the administrators and other data users. So this surveys data is using administrators and other data. So India is one of the very few countries in the world which has a proud history of holding census surveys after every 10 years. So our surveys techniques are very powerful when compared to the other countries. Right? Our country people serving to the others to improve their census reports or census surveys. So in our country is also very surveys. So the Indian census have a very long history behind it. Okay. Suppose if you want to do long history in the sense, if you want to propose any new technique, you require what? Previous history. So compulsory history should require to develop a new concepts, a new techniques, or to formulate a new ideas. Okay. So that's why the history. So in the census surveys, we take the history in the Rig Veda. The earliest literature, Rig Veda reveals that some kind of population count was maintained during 800 to 600. 800 to 600, right from Rig Veda onwards, we are maintaining the data based on the surveys. Later we can discuss. But it's census survey and sample survey. Already I told you, census in the sense a whole population information. Here population means not a human beings, not a population count. Okay, so number of animals in a forest is a population. Number of trees in a forest. Number of patients in a hospital. Number of fans in a hall. Number of tube lights. When this I want to test the life length of a tube light. Okay, this is a population. Right? So this surveys, these were keeping the data. Just at the time of Kautilya's Arthashastra, written around in 321 96 BC. Right stress on census taking as a measure of state policy for purpose of taxation. So Kautilya Arthashastra is very right famous author. He developed techniques how to collect the taxes. Okay. So, if you want to collect the taxes means you require total number of population. But all the total number of populations are not a taxpayers. Dependents are their children. They are not taxpayers. Dependents, old age people are also not taxpayers. The students, not taxpayers. So you have to gather only those who are paying taxes information only you have to gather. By means we have to provide some facilities to the public. Not so easy. But how can we survey? How can we provide health facilities? How can we provide sociological aspect activities? So administrative facilities to provide to gather the data. Next you see in the during the resume of Mughal King Akbar, the great administrative report I.V. Akbari included comprehensive data presenting to population industry, wealth and many other characteristics. He developed the technique is population. Previous in Arthashastra, Kautilya's, he developed only the population, concentrated on only total number of population. But in this Akbar resume, right, they concentrated on population, industry, wealth, and many other characteristics to increase some factors. After that, he in East India Company trade particularly in basic commodities. So East India Company, right? So they developed, they trade in all the countries. Particularly products are cotton, silk, indigo, dye, salt, and these products what they require. What the company also ruled the beginnings of the British Empire in India. Okay, so they established their companies. First of all, they require people are using their products or not. Some surveys, some database. So the history of Indian census can be divided into two parts: pre and post census. Pre-independence and post-independent of India. So, what is an important of this? One or two surveys just I will show. We should go for sample surveys. So, in this census surveys, pre-independent era and post-independent era surveys are gathered. So now let us discuss the history of census. Begin with 800, when England had, but the population of dependencies was not known at that time. Population of dependencies. English Constitution based on this methodology, census was conducted in town of Allahabad in 1824 and the city of Benares in the year 1827 and 28 by James. So the survey is conducted in that year. After that, the first complete census of an Indian city was conducted in 1830 by Henry Walker in Dhaka. In Dhaka, first census survey is conducted in 1830. So in this census, the statistics of population, sex, and gross age group also they collected houses with their amenities were collected. Houses and amenities. Now you see our present government, central or state, They were providing. Why they have to provide? They were giving subsidy for to build a pakka house, that means to build a buildings. They are providing some things. Okay. In our government is also present, you see, providing Vidya Divana, Vasudha Divana, right? Some pensions are also providing. Okay. So health surveys, right? In the last month, people are suffering fevers. So government is initiated to conduct, right, fever, right, survey. How many people are suffering from fever? So it's health. Okay. So that's the service required to the government to run smooth functioning of administrative policies. If you want to run a smooth functioning, it's required all the subject research, all the subjects, where economic, social, science, technology, engineering, so all the people it's required to run the smooth functioning of the country administration. Any administration, where a survey data. Now, second, census was conducted in 1836-37 by George. In 1849, Government of India ordered local governments to conduct details of population. So these are all just I will show the images, slides of surveys. This is also when the survey started. Just a moment, I am coming directly. The census. What are the number of questions in households? In 1982 census, the house register was canvassed with 17 questions. Right? In research, we call it as each question is one variable. Each question is a one variable. You see, these are all the questions. So you see 17 questions. So each question you have to investigate. But how we gather the data, whether it is scientific or sociological, right, or not scientific, whatever it is, first and foremost we have to gather the census data. So for example of census data, just I am showing here the census survey. So number of houses, whether the houses is terrace, tiled or as whether pakka house or not, name of the males, age, all of the place. So survey to survey they increase the variables, like questions. Okay. Next I will show some at present 2021 census survey. What is the importance of census surveys? To provide facilities to the public, either it is sociological or economic or health required. Right. This is census survey schedule, call it as. Right. Based on this schedule, the Indian government providing all the facilities to the public. Means all the researchers are working. Researchers are not only scientific researchers, sociological research, farmers, economic research. So all the subjects is involved in this survey to provide the facilities and to meet the needs of public. Okay, so just to see, so it is visible. So these are all some questions in the household survey. So door to door, our country is surveyed. Okay. So to provide health facilities, to provide education, to provide schemes, right? To provide any incentives, to provide technology, okay, or to sustain our security systems, defense, whatever it is. So it's required the data. You see, they're all building number, census number, okay, predominant material of floor, which floor you are using, wall and roof of the census house. Okay, right? So they are gathering all these information. Right? So name of the head of the household, to sex, male or female, transgender, to caste, ownership of state of this house, number of building rooms. See, these are all one by one. Is a one variable. But why we gather this census data? To do investigation. To do investigation. This we are going to do research. Suppose to submit any one project on the economic conditions of one particular state, the usage of technology in one particular state, okay, the health condition of one particular state. You see, all the researchers are required to do the research. So this data is filling here, and also the data is gathering. See, like this, right? So this is a house listing in our country, right? How we gather the data. So different. This is also one type of, right? Different type of survey. So in the 2011 surveys, so every 10 years once your questions is changed, right? So that questions are like here. You see, survey to survey. There are all few questions. In 1881. Now, in 1991, just to see. Okay. So these based on these questions, the researchers are investigating. The researchers are investigating. So it requires all types of researchers, not only a science. These are all. Now, in the 1901 census, this data is, okay, so many people are suffering, right? At present, the eye problem. Why means we are using digital gadgets, or the education system, we are using more digital. So what are the consequences we have to face? We are doing research. What is the smart technology impact on the education? What is the smartphone impact on the education? Just to imagine, it influences a lot. Okay, you can go to the my research title is, right, smartphone impact on academic environment. You see, smartphone impact on academic environment. This is a common title, research title. right? So economic researchers are required, sociological researchers are required, scientific research are required, technology research are required. So title is only single title is there, right? So if you want to formulate the objectives, all researchers are required to do a research. So this is census in the sense the broad area you are gathering. Okay. Next, the case of sample surveys. Next, what is sample survey? Right? So, first and foremost, you see, right? In carrying out a survey related to the research, the first and foremost task is to select the sample. Okay, right from home. Okay, suppose anybody preparing any recipe or whether your food grains are cooked or not, right? Is we are testing all the food grains, for example, whether the entire bowl of rice is cooked or not, right? We are checking each and every grain. No, isn't it? So one or two food grains we are checking. Based on that one or two grain characteristic, we decide the entire bowl of rice is cooked or not. Okay. That is a sample, means you need not to test each and every item in the population. Just to observe a part of a population, then you decide the conclusions, or then we can write a conclusions as a whole population. That is the use of sample. Okay. The sample surveys. Why in the sense, suppose you see in the defense, right? Sample survey in the sense what? For example, you see in our human body, nearly 3 to 4 liters of blood is there. Suppose a pathologist, they wanted to confirm your blood group is which type, A, B, or A positive, O positive, or negative. Okay. So to test the blood group, the pathologist may take entire blood into the bucket and send it to the laboratory. No, it is not possible also. Okay. So that's why what sometimes sample is survey is compulsory. Okay. So do you know that in my body is 3 to 4 liters of blood is there? Do you know what is my blood group? You don't know. So how can you test? Just you are taking 1 or 2 blood sample, blood drops. But where you are collecting, right hand or left hand, or in which finger you are draw the sample, that is very, very, very important. So we are assuming that in our entire blood in our body is a homogeneity. Okay. So where you draw the sample from the population is very, very, very important. How to draw the sample from the population? That is, we call it as a sampling techniques. So in the sample surveys, the purpose is need not to investigate whole population, just to observe a part of a population characteristic, then you generalize it as a whole. Now you see what is heartbeat per rate per minute. Everyone knows that heartbeat per rate per minute is 72. Is 72. Right. So in which population heartbeat is 72? Maybe in Visakhapatnam, Vizianagaram, Srikakulam, Bombay, Delhi, Chennai. where it beats 72, USA, London, Japan, France, Canada. So the simple is what? The general statement is what? A common healthy man heartbeat pulse rate per minute is 72. So this is a general statement. But is it possible to test each and every person's heartbeat pulse rate in the universe, in the globe? It is not possible. Why? The globe, more than 700 crore population is there. More than 700 crore population. It is possible, but it takes a lot of time and budget. Okay. That's why what? We invite sample surveys. We invite sample surveys. So need not to study each and every item in the universe. Just to observe. Just to observe a part of a survey. Okay. So that part of a survey is depending on sample surveys. Okay. So in the sample survey, drawing the samples from the population is very, very, very important. Okay. So how to draw a part of a population from the large population? So that thing is called as a sampling. So the difference between sample and sampling, just to explain. Sample in the sense a portion or a part of a population. Okay. Suppose entire university is a population. Right? Entire university is a population. University. The technology is one part, it is a subunit, subpopulation. Okay. You can take one department, is a like in our body 4 to 5 liters or 3 to 4 liters of blood is there. You take 1 or 2 drops is a sample. But how to draw that sample is a technique. Right? Suppose I want to select 10 students in the science college. Right? So in the science college, so many students are there. To whom I have to select? All students are studying PG. All are all equal. To whom I have to select? So unbiasedly, without any favor, I have to select. I have to pick up. So which department first I have to select? Suppose I am a statistics student, I am selecting more students from statistics or more students from mathematical sciences. So it is a bias. So to eliminate that bias, how can you pick up that 10 students? Okay. So you can pick up randomly, unbiasedly, that 10 students. Okay. So that selecting of units from the population, you have to apply some tools and techniques. That techniques is a sampling techniques, right? So the basic idea behind sampling is to draw inference about the population from which the sample is drawn. Okay. Next, here we have learned some ways to sampling is display, describe, and summarize the data based on the sample. Okay. But we have been limited to examining the particular batch of data, limited. Or to make decisions, we need to go beyond the data and come to the world at large. So let us discuss. Right? This is a target population. In the target population, first to identify a study population. First, to identify a study population. In that study population, you take a sample of observations. Okay, suppose first to identify the university. In the university, you identify a college. In the college, you identify a department. Exact, where you draw the samples. Okay, so that is a sampling techniques. How to draw a population. Let us see. See, this is entire is a population. This is entire is a population. But how to select few observations, few units. See, I am right. So, sample means what? A sample is defined as a portion of the population where the units in the sample. This is entire population. I selected this portion. This is sample 1. This is sample 2. This is sample 3. That red line portion. Okay. So sample 1, sample 2, sample 3. Select. These are all the portions. But how we select these samples from the population is called it as a sample technique. So the population of interest is usually too large to attempt to survey all of its members. Careful chosen sample can be used to represent the population. The sample reflects the characteristics of the population from which it is drawn. So, based on the sample, right? Why we use the sample? Okay, why sample? Right? So, based on the sample, need not to population. So that's why you observe a park in the sense the cost is. But whereas in the census survey, you see each and every unit information you have to gather. That's why in our country, census survey is conducting every 10 years once. Why means the cost is very high to gather the survey. We have to appoint lakhs of investigators. Generally, government is appointing teachers to gather the data. So we have to give traveling allowances and right daily allowances. So the budget is increased. So the same survey, some other investigations, they are using sample surveys, right? So cost is decreasing. Very few observations we are gathering, and also, right, less field time it takes, more accuracy they do, a better job for data collection. Okay, when it's impossible to study the whole population, sometimes you see, I want to test entire blood in my body. It is not possible. Right? A pathologist may not take entire blood in. Right? So, sample is compulsory. Okay. So, we have some terminologies. Right? That is what is an element in the sample. Right? So, an element is an object which a measurement is taken. Population is collection of elements about here. Population in the sense. Suppose I want to make survey. Is post-COVID symptoms. People are suffering a lot. And those who are affected COVID, after cure, after COVID, that means post-COVID symptoms is very high. Still the people are. So, first of all, population in the sense, what are the total number of COVID affected persons to require. But element in the sense only one object. But what is a sampling units? Sampling units are no overlapping collections of elements from the population that cover the entire population. A sampling frame list of all the sampling units from which sample is drawn. Sampling scheme methods of selecting sample units from sampling training. Well, sample is a collection of sampling units drawn from a sampling. What is a parameter? Numerical characteristics of a population. General, previously I told to you, population mean is a parameter. Sample mean is a statistic. Population mean means whole population characteristic is a parameter. Based on the sample you are estimating, it is a sample characteristic. Right. So this is just only briefly I given census and sample surveys. So in the next class we discuss elaborately in sampling methods, sampling techniques, sampling designs. Right. So regarding census and sampling surveys, any discussions? Only the thing is in your research project or investigation, you are going to select or you are going to investigate a census or sample. Census in the sense entire large in size. You have to decide your investigation, you are going to do census. Sample in the sense a part of a population. Yeah. Generally, people are using sample surveys. But when compared to census and sample, census surveys is important. Why? Each and every individuals or units information you are gathering. It reduces the error sampling error. That's why people are using generally census in social research. But whereas in science research, almost all using sampling or sample surveys. Why? The cost is very high. Okay. Right. So any queries, just discuss 5 minutes. The time is 7:35. Okay. Any queries, I will ready to give answers to your questions. Okay, may I close? Yes, anyone respond? May I close the session? Right. So tomorrow we discuss. So in the next session.
Bye.